So this situation can turn into a very, very interesting situation, though I'm not sure it's going to unfold the way people think it is. So, guys, as a lot of you know, the trucker industry, or some truckers, are refusing deliveries to New York City. Now, initially, I thought it was New York State as a whole. It is New York City that they're refusing deliveries and pickups to. In fact, just this morning, I heard that the companies are also refusing to deliver to New York City because of the Trump fraud case that was lost. So Trump lost a fraud case, and he has to pay out $355 million, or his organization does. I think Trump only has to pay half of that, or a portion of that, and then his son has to pay another portion. Regardless, this is why truckers are pissed off and upset, and now they are refusing, like I said, delivery and pickup. Now, this is where the so-called problem comes up, the supply chain issue that's going to happen in New York City. A lot of people seem to think that there's going to be this big, disastrous problem, and in some cases, people are saying that New Yorkers or New York Cityers, I don't know if that's even a thing, they're going to starve. All right, well, first of all, I'm not going to starve because I'm prepared. But for the rest of the city, they might starve. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think it's going to turn out that way. I don't think it's going to be that drastic. There might be a few truckers that won't show up to New York City, but I won't know more until tomorrow when the businesses are open. So today is President's Day. A lot of businesses are closed. So tomorrow's going to be my only gauge as to whether or not there's a ton of trucks in the city. And the problem is that I don't see a lot of truckers doing this. I do see some truckers doing this. I do see some trucking companies doing this. I even see some dispatchers who said they're taking part in this as well, meaning they're not going to be dispatching trucks to certain areas, even if those trucks, I'm assuming even if those trucks don't take part in it, they're not going to be dispatching trucks to New York City. So you have companies, dispatchers, and the actual truckers taking part in this. So that does, listen, I hope that this goes to the level that the truckers want this to go to. I really do. Me being in New York City, I'm looking for New Yorkers and the politicians in New York to learn a lesson. And this is a hard lesson if, in fact, this does take root. But if it doesn't take root, then you only have a couple truckers missing out on a couple runs. You know, so, all right, they, instead of doing 12 runs this week, they're doing, 6. I mean, and listen, they do deserve a break when they can get it. And if this is their way of getting a break as well, so be it. But the starvation part, that's where I'm like, all right, I don't really see that happening. I mean, there are so many trucking companies coming into this city. If 50% of those trucks don't come in, or 20% of those trucks don't come in, not 50, 20% don't come in, then now you're talking. Now we could see some devastating consequences behind that. But again, guys, this is affecting New Yorkers who, the majority of New Yorkers here in New York City are liberals. So again, fuck them. Seriously, I know I live in New York City, but I am all for this if this actually takes hold. So again, there are YouTubers, there are TikTokers saying that, New Yorkers are gonna starve, and I'm like, man, I really fucking hope some of these people do starve, because they're fat fucks anyway, and they need a fucking diet. Not the point. The other point that I need to make too is that truckers, this is where it gets interesting, because when I'm watching these videos, I'm like, oh shit, truckers are not coming in. Oh, this could be interesting. This could turn into a shit show. Then I thought about it. Eric Adams wants less trucks in New York City. He wants less trucks in New York City. In fact, he wants less trucks delivering meat to New York City. He wants to find more plant-based options. This is from Eric Adams about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. He wanted less trucks. So truckers are essentially giving him what he wants. So he wins in that aspect. And now that they're not delivering meats into the city, or whatever trucking company doesn't come in, but let's just say they're meat trucks as well, he wins again. He wins twice. Less pollution, less meat in the city. And then he could sort out his plant-based option. Now, obviously, a lot of us are not going to abide by the plant-based option. We'll just jump in our cars and go to New Jersey, Connecticut and get our food, Long Island and get our food, or just not even, we don't even have to go that far, just go to Yonkers and get our food there. So the starvation part, again, it's why I'm not like I have hopes for it, but I don't think it's going to take hold, again, because a lot of people just jump in their rides and go to the neighboring areas to get their food. So it's like not the end of the world. Now, for those who are solely reliant on the city and the EBT cards or the welfare cards, if you will, they're probably going to run into a bit of a problem. But not those of us who have cars. I know a lot of hipsters don't have cars, so they're going to be, suffering as well, so fuck them. Those people that ride their Vespas and scooters, they're going to be starving, so fuck them. But again, I don't see this being a big to-do. Eric Adams still wins either way. So they screw over New Yorkers, but the politicians who want less trucks in the city, they win. Now, I know that truckers also complained about traffic problems, which traffic problems got a lot worse since they started putting bike lanes in. So that's another issue, and I think why trucking companies are also on board. I mean, I don't think it's just the Trump thing. It's a multitude of shit, and this Trump thing was just the straw that broke the camel's back kind of deal. Because the traffic in New York City is out of control because of the, not congestion pricing. Congestion pricing is supposed to slow down traffic, and that's also truckers are also being hit with that, or trucking companies are being hit with that, sorry. But then you got them redesigning traffic flow for bicyclists. And the bicycles, the lanes in the entire city being used is not even like 20%. 20% usage of bike lanes in the entire 5 boroughs. And this is coming from the DOT guys in New York City. So, again, they're stating that, and they think it's stupid. I spoke to one of them a year ago. He said, these are stupid. No one's using these. They're only being utilized downtown and certain areas in Brooklyn, not all of Brooklyn. And they want to keep adding more bike lanes, and when you add more bike lanes, you disrupt the traffic flow of that area. And then they want to put like partitions in the middle of the road. So now the road is no longer 2 lanes, it's 1 lane, and now you got a bike lane. So now there's no parking, and there's only 1 lane. So they're getting rid of parking, which makes it hard for us New Yorkers who have vehicles, and then they're getting rid of extra lanes just to put a bike lane that no one's using. Hell, the people on e-bikes don't even use them. They're in the fucking middle of the road in front of us. So this is, again, truckers have a lot of griping, and they were griping about the bike lanes, or griping about the traffic flow, they were griping about the congestion pricing, all of this, and now this. Listen, I hope this gets to a disastrous level where New York City has to turn around and overturn Trump's guilty finding, but that's not going to happen. Not in a million years. I know that people hope so, but the truckers are doing this because, again, Trump got fined for $355 million, just enough to disrupt his campaign or bankrupt his campaign, but also they think that that's going to be overturned. The truckers think that that's going to be overturned. And I'm like, it's not going to work that way. There's no amount of not delivering to New York City where New Yorkers, with a politician in New York goes, guys, you got to rethink this Trump finding and overturn it. Not going to happen. Trump will find a way to put off paying and keep the continuance going, if you will, until he gets into office. So again, I know that he is pissed about the $355 million, but he's going to put it off until he gets into office and then figure out a way how to pay it off, because it is New York. New York's not going to let him slide with it. But again, he'll find a way how to absolve himself from it once he gets into office, or he'll just put him on a payment program. Now, again, guys, a lot of people think he has to pay that $355 million in one shot. I don't think that's how it works. I'm pretty sure that he can pay it off in increments, in a payment plan or whatever it is. Even for a rich guy like that, he's not going to all of a sudden, and I'm pretty sure he can fork over that money, but that would affect his campaign. And this is all, guys, to affect his campaign. Now, I know a couple of liberal idiots, and they sit there and go, good, this will make sure he doesn't get into office. I'm like, so this is how you guys want to win the election. You guys want to win the election by cheating. You guys want to win the election by making sure he's bankrupt so he can't afford his campaign, which, guys, he'll even find money for that. And I told you guys before, I say it again, this is where we step in and we start funding him. We start donating to him, whether that's $1, $5, $20, $100. Start donating to his campaign so that the liberals don't win. That's what it comes down to. Now, again, guys, I have to reiterate, I don't think this is going to turn out the way the truckers think. A lot of truckers think, that this is going to be a devastating blow to New York City. A lot of TikTokers and YouTubers are like, New Yorkers are going to starve. No, they're not. There's a lot of fat-ass New Yorkers out there that can use a couple days of no eating. So they should be fine, about a week's worth of fat in their body. Maybe if they don't move, it'll last 2 weeks, whatever. It won't, I don't think it'll turn out the way they think it is. And if it does, and if it starts to, I'll do a video apologizing. But I just don't see that happening in New York City. And I see enough people going out and going out and buying shit in other neighboring states. Now, do I see some supermarkets being light on shit? Absolutely. Even if this does last about a week, which I don't even think it'll last long, but even if it does, I do see less shit on the supermarket, but I don't see it being a disastrous level or a devastating level. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.